The Dutch East India Company, known as VOC, emphasized on religious instruction for their slaves, dictated them according to it, and forced them to convert to Christianity as well as baptize their children. Slaves were allowed to live together as couples, but sexual relations were forbidden if they were not registered as a couple. Slave lodges were allowed to function as brothels, which were open to white men every night. In 1671, regulations were issued to forbid any sexual relations between white men and female slaves, but with the amount of mixed children, this was an indication that these regulations were not followed. The VOC hardly took any steps to prevent this from happening again. There wasn't enough evidence that indicated whether female slaves were against having sexual relations with white men. The only source of evidence to support these claims are from historians. Many historians debate about how female slaves felt about these brothels. Historians like Ambrose Cowley and Otto Menzel argue that female slaves were forced by their partners to sleep with white men. However, some historians argue that female slaves prostituted themselves out of free will, saying they enjoyed the higher status, access to better jobs, and had a better chance at freedom, though not all sexual relations were in form of prostitution. In some cases, marriage occurred between female slaves and white men. One of the main reasons for the high number of relationships and marriage between white men and female slaves was because of the lack of white women in the Cape in the early years. The VOC's first priorities was to bring over sailors, soldiers, and officials, which meant no women. All children born before 1795 from marriages between white men and female slaves were accepted as white and grew up part of the white society.